and welcome to my channel. My name is Caro, and today I'll be reading to you once again from Fairy Tales and Fantastic Stories by Terry Jones. I think we left off at the third story. Don't you love the sound of pages? I like the smell of them too, which is probably why I don't have an e-reader. Okay. So, today's story is called The Wonderful Cake Horse, which is quite literally a horse made out of cake. So that's pretty brilliant to begin with. Okay, so The Wonderful Cake Horse. A man once made a cake shaped like a horse. That night, a shooting star flew over the house, and a spark happened to fall on the cake horse. Well, the cake horse lay there for a few moments, and then he gave a snort, and then he whinnied, scrambled to his legs, and shook his mane of white icing, and stood there in the moonlight, gazing around at the world. The man, who was asleep in bed, heard the noise and looked out of the window and saw his cake horse running around the garden, bucking and snorting, just as if he'd been a real wild horse. "Hey, cake horse," cried the man, "what are you doing?" "Aren't I a fine horse?" cried the cake horse. "You can ride me if you like." But the man said, "You've got no horseshoes, and you've got no saddle, and you're only made of cake." The cake horse snorted and bucked and kicked in the air and galloped across the garden and leapt clean over the gate and disappeared into the night. The next morning, the cake horse arrived in the nearby town and went to the blacksmith and said, "Blacksmith, make me some good horseshoes, for my feet are only made of cake." But the blacksmith said, "How will you pay me?" And the cake horse answered, "If you make me some horseshoes, I'll be your friend." But the blacksmith shook his head. "I don't need friends like that," he said. So the cake horse galloped to the saddler and said, "Saddler, make me a saddle of the best leather, one that will go with my icing sugar mane." But the saddler said, "If I make you a saddle, how will you pay me?" "I'll be your friend," said the cake horse. "I don't need friends like that," said the saddler, and he shook his head. The cake horse snorted and bucked and kicked his legs in the air and said, "Why doesn't anyone want to be my friend? I'll go and join the wild horses." And he galloped out of the town and off to the moors where the wild horses roamed. But when he saw the other wild horses, they were all so big and wild that he was afraid they'd trample him to crumbs without even noticing he was there. And just then he came upon a mouse who was groaning to himself under a stone. "What's the matter with you?" asked the cake horse. "Oh," said the mouse, "I ran away from my home in the town, and I came up here where there's nothing to eat, and now I'm dying of hunger and too weak to get back. The cake horse felt very sorry for the mouse, and so he said, "Here you are. You can nibble a bit of me if you like, for I'm made of cake." "That's most kind of you," said the mouse, and he ate a little of the cake horse's tail and a little of his icing sugar mane. "Now I feel much better." The cake horse said, "If only I had a saddle and some horseshoes, I could carry you back to town." "I'll make you them," said the mouse, and he made 4 little horseshoes out of acorn cups, and a saddle out of beetle shells. And he got up on the cake horse's back and rode him back to town. And there they remained the best of friends for the rest of their lives. That's a cute story, isn't it? Look. So here you can see the cake horse and the wild horses and the little mouse in the corner. It's funny because I always thought that there was a picture of the cake horse with his horseshoes from acorn cups and his beetle shell saddle. But I'm looking at it now and there never was. So I think I must have made that up in my head back in the day. Which is fine. It's just funny. Let's have a look. Should we do one more? We have time. I have a really short one here. It's only half a page. It's called The Three Raindrops. A raindrop was falling out of a cloud, and it said to the raindrop next to it, "I'm the biggest and the best raindrop in the whole sky." "You are indeed a fine raindrop," said the second, "but you're not nearly so beautifully shaped as I am, and in my opinion, it's shape that counts, and I am therefore the best raindrop in the whole sky." The first raindrop replied, "Let us settle this matter once and for all." So they asked a third raindrop to decide between them. But the third raindrop said, "What nonsense are you both talking? You may be a big raindrop, and you are certainly well shaped, but, as everybody knows, it's purity that really counts, and I'm purer than either of you. I am therefore the best raindrop in the whole sky." Well, before either of the other raindrops could reply, they all 3 hit the ground and became part of a very muddy puddle. I think I'll leave you to think of the moral of that story. Okay. Well, that's it for today. So I hope you have a great day or a great night or whatever. And I will see you next time.